Okay, at this time I will call the December 15th meeting of the Wolfeboro Police Commission to order and ask that everybody in attendance stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Coop will be joining us shortly. He's just returning from Florida. He should be hitting Wolfeboro any time now, I think. This time, though, I will entertain a consideration of the minutes from November 17th, 2022.
I would move that be accepted as prepared.
Okay. I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have a need for non-public this evening besides?
We do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. What do you have for? I know I want to talk about the contract.
Personnel, union contract,
Okay.
and I have a contract that needs to be discussed and ratified by the commission.
Okay. Okay. At this time, if you'd like to begin with the monthly reports, Chief.
I will. Thank you, sir. So moving to the first slide in your deck is incidents year to date. So as of November, we had a 13% decrease from 78 to 64 incidents with a total of 65 offenses for the month of November. That's standard, basically standard for what we have. You have the backup data if you want to see what those were. Moving on to arrests year to date, 2022, we had a significant decrease from 32 in October to 11 in November. That's a 65.62% decrease. So that's probably the first time I've seen it ever that low in my almost 27 years of being here in the Wolfeboro PD. You do have the arrest status report broken down by officer if you want to see what those were.
Is there any particular reason would you, or anything that you would attribute to the decrease in arrests?
It's an anomaly.
Okay. It's a good anomaly, but it's, yeah.
It's an anomaly, yeah. It just probably never happen again. Also, in traffic stops, we were down 28.47% from 151 to 108 in November. Of those, 14 tickets were given out, and that's a 13% chance of getting a ticket in the month of November. Want to see what those traffic stops were. You got basically, you got, 2 pages of warnings, and then you have 1 page of the 14 summonses that were issued. And just as a point of interest, and I'll talk to it in my chief's items, we are still seeing significant numbers of uninspected and unregistered motor vehicles. In fact, last Thursday, I backed up Corporal Joe Shanks on a motor vehicle stop. We pulled over a gentleman who had been living here in Wolfeboro for a considerable period of time, over 2 years, and his vehicle had not been registered in over 2 years. In fact, the paint on the plate was peeling off. Right, was peeling off. I have never seen that before. That's how long the vehicle has been on the road before being stopped by police officers.
Wow.
So, and then, of course, at that point, it's like, oh, can't you give me a break? No. That's just too long. When the paint is peeling off your license plate, yeah. Okay, moving on. Welcome to my world. Moving on. Collisions, we had a slight increase from 15 to 16. That's a 6.67%. And the reason for that is everybody forgot how to drive during the first snowstorm we had of the season in early November. You have accidents by street name, if you want to see what those are.
How many of those accidents occurred on that snow day?
I believe it was 6. Wow. Yeah, the vehicles crashing into phone poles and crashing into each other.
Yeah, 4 electrical poles like that.
Rock
we're
walls.
hitting
I like what you said. I didn't like what he said.
Yeah. So.
We're
You also have, I also gave you gentlemen accidents by street name year to date. So year to date, we've had 149, and you can see where all those were. Obviously, the vast majority of those are occurring on Center Street, North Main Street, and Railroad Ave, actually, surprisingly.
South Main Street,
Railroad Ave, right? Yeah. Or was that South Main?
South Main.
I'm sorry, South Main Street. South Main Street. So, hard
Is there
to...
anything that was the major cause of it? Bad tires or just bad driving?
No, it's bad, it's all bad driving. It's all bad driving.
Could be speed involved, too. They're the conditions they're not used to.
So every motor vehicle accident, right, you have is caused by one or more of 3 factors. Steering, braking, acceleration, right, called over input of a control. So it's bad driving. Okay. Very rarely do we find a contributing factor that's mechanical. Very rarely. Almost never happens.
I just wondered if there's a relationship between not getting the vehicles inspected and the condition of the vehicles, like bald tires.
Those are usually secondary factors. Usually it's bald tires and speed. It's bald tires and braking.
I was thinking about with a winter storm.
Yeah, right, exactly. So very, very rarely is there, my brakes failed, and then we do a vehicle autopsy and find out indeed the brakes failed. But we will, if somebody says, well, it felt like I was on ice, and it's the middle of July and it's 90 degrees outside, yeah, we'll take a look at the braking of the, that's easy enough to do. But very rarely, I think I've had one case in almost 27 years of law enforcement where the person said it was braking. And in fact, yeah, it was braking. It was because they were pulling a trailer that was overloaded by 4,000 pounds and they didn't have the brakes hooked up. So sure, it felt like they were on ice when they were trying to stop. But yeah, so it's bad. It's what I call bad driving. Next slide in your deck, gentlemen, is the personnel analysis report. This will give you a nice snapshot by officer as to activity year to date. And it's also in your presentation copy of your slides as well, if you wanted to see that in a chart. So now we'll move into the school resource officer reports. First, we'll start with Corporal Boucher. And Corporal Boucher worked the month of November as the floating SRO between Carpenter School and Crescent Lake School. And he is, gentlemen, he is busy. And I'm glad we've got him up there doing that. He did a cover for a few days at the high school and middle school for SRO Divine while she was away on vacation. During the month, Corporal Boucher assisted Detective Emerson with some evidence and drug take-back items that were located at the police department and getting that moved up to Troop B to be turned over to the DEA for destruction. Corporal Boucher also conducted firearms qualification for the officers of the police department. And then Corporal Boucher continues to handle the morning school crossing at Carpenter School. Specifically, this past month, Corporal Boucher investigated one criminal mischief case involving another reported keying of a vehicle on campus. Corporal Boucher was able to view video footage to eliminate damage happening on campus. Additionally, Corporal Boucher is actively investigating the damage, $2,500 to one of the Promethean boards, a brief last month, that was shattered in a classroom when a student threw a magnet-sized object which struck the board. The corporal was able to speak with some parents and a student regarding the incident. During the interview, the student and the parents elected to stop the interview until they could speak to counsel. Corporal Boucher reached out to another parent of a suspected involved student, but mom refused access to her child. Corporal Boucher has another interview scheduled, and that was conducted on December 6th. And more information to follow. Corporal Boucher made 3 referrals to DCYF this past month. Corporal Boucher was called to the middle school for a young female student who was upset in class and then stated that she wanted to harm herself. Corporal Boucher met with the school and guidance council and the guidance counselor and found out that this was not the first time the student had made such statements. Corporal Boucher was able to work with the family and get the child medical attention. This was completed without incident. And then, gentlemen, the rest of that, I do not want to read out for the public only because I don't want the children involved in the below 2 paragraphs to be identified, but you gentlemen have it for your edification. Additionally, Corporal Boucher handled 2 parking complaints and vehicles that were passing school buses while the red lights and the stop arm was activated. And then Corporal Boucher also assisted Carpenter Elementary School with student welfare checks. Corporal Boucher also investigated 6 offense reports during the month of November as well. So he's very busy up there at the SRO position. I think that activity shows just exactly how busy he is. So having him obviously do that is taking a nice strain off the patrol division that would otherwise have to investigate that and/or Officer Devine. Next report is.
Just before we get on with Officer Devine, how are we doing overall since the start of school with school bus incidents with regard to people passing on red lights or blowing by a bus when they're,
Well, when we get those complaints, we do investigate them, whether it's one of the SROs or whether it's the patrol division.
what is it?
I know we had the morning patrol out there following some buses, and we didn't find any incidents.
So things are probably going better this year than in years
Yeah.
past? Oh, good. Okay.
November was the 3rd month of school for SRO Devine with 17 school days of school. SRO Devine responded to several incidents at Ohio middle schools and assisted Carpenter Elementary School with various school-related complaints. School bus passing related complaints. During a 2-hour delay from school, SRO Devine assisted patrol with several motor vehicle accidents, 2 of which were students. No injuries reported. That would be the date of the snowstorm, gentlemen. That came in early November. SRO Devine wrote 9 incident reports and 2 accident reports. SRO Devine contacted the Division of Children, Youth, and Families after speaking with a student who reported little supervision at home in another jurisdiction. SRO Devine spoke with a student who reported a sexual assault that occurred in another jurisdiction. The information was passed along to the police departments that have jurisdiction in those 2 areas. SRO Devine spoke with a student who reported that a former student had posted a gun on a Snapchat and had threatened suicide. A welfare check was conducted by a local police department, and the subject had been transported to a local hospital for an evaluation. SRO Devine spoke with the mother of a student who called her directly about a child threatening suicide. SRO Devine, with the assistance of school staff, located the child on school grounds. The child was taken to a local hospital for evaluation. SRO Devine conducted a welfare check on a Carpenter Elementary School student who had not been seen in school for several days. Contact was made with the child. Other reports included possession of tobacco products, harassment, and suspicious persons report, receiving stolen property, and she also assisted a student with medical emergency at the high school, for which Wolfeboro Fire Rescue and Stewart's ambulance were called. SRO Devine received a motor vehicle complaint. A vehicle was driving recklessly in the Art Center parking lot. SRO Devine identified the driver and observed the driver rapidly accelerating in the downtown business area after school hours. SRO Devine wrote the student a town ordinance violation for misuse of power. SRO Devine and Corporal Boucher spoke with a studies class about the phenomenon, the cannonball run, and about how it is illegal and extremely dangerous. The officers answered many questions and reviewed the students' projects about how they believed they could get to the other side of the country without stopping in record time and not get arrested. So if you gentlemen are not aware, that's a youth thing that contributes to really poor driving and bad behavior. So they're doing the best they can to go ahead and get that taken care of before it becomes a problem. SRO Devine was given the recommendation from juvenile probation to file a juvenile petition for a student that she had referred to the juvenile probation and parole for a CANS assessment, child and adolescent needs and strengths. The petition is pending for the charges of simple assault, disorderly conduct, and criminal threatening. SRO Devine also attended the Kingswood's Next Steps team. The mission of the Kingswood Next Steps team is to provide intervention support for identified at-risk students to increase overall positive behaviors and academic success. And that's a program that we strongly support at the Wolfeboro Police Department. SRO Devine and Corporal Boucher attended an active shooter and stop the bleed training at the Alton High School this past month. SRO Devine and others attended Career Day at the Lakes Region Technical Center with Sergeant Michael Straw, K-9 Riggs, Dispatch Supervisor Mia Lyons, and Administrative Assistant Sherry Moore. Executive Administrative Assistant Sherry. SRO Devine and Corporal Boucher met with the Superintendent.
Eric Kelly.
What you said. Principal Donnelly and Vice Principal Charlin referenced school security and getting training for the staff for an active shooting event. SRO Devine attended the two-day New Hampshire Special Olympics Conference and is eager to start raising funds for the Special Olympics for the law enforcement Winnie Dip in March. So, yeah, that's coming up. And that's when...
I always need somebody to record this. I always volunteer.
So we'll be once again running and/or diving into the frozen waters of Lake Winnipesaukee sometime in March. So more to follow on that, but obviously be looking for that, and the sponsorships will be posted shortly. So I think this year we're going to be doing it over on the other side of the lake at the
Margate?
Yes, sir. That's correct. All right. Activity report for Detective Emerson. Detective Emerson was requested by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to assist with the interrogation during an execution of a search warrant at a residence in Exeter, New Hampshire for a crime of child sexual exploitation. Detective Emerson assisted the Federal Bureau of Tobacco, Alcohol, and Firearms with locating a subject thought to be in Wolfeboro who had illegally purchased a firearm in southern New Hampshire. Detective Emerson was able to utilize his network and relationships with citizens of our community to locate the individual. The individual was not in Wolfeboro. However, the information was given to ATF agents and the man was later located. Detective Emerson again assisted the department with patrol shift coverage throughout the month of November. Detective Emerson assisted evening and night shift officers with follow-up on some of their cases. Cases assigned this month include two theft cases, one assault, one support to the ICAC, and one assist to the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Percentage of cases closed this month is 76%. Percentage of cases closed by arrest during this month is 24%, and percentage of entire caseload closed so far year-to-date is 77%, which is actually pretty good. You have his spreadsheet if you want to take a look at the cases that have been dispensed with. Mr. Chairman, I'll move into the chief's items, with your permission.
Go ahead.
We do have a need for non-public meeting tonight dealing with personnel and budgetary items in both the union contract and the towing contract. Under general budget items, there will be an end-of-year budget fourth quarter FY22 review after the chief's presentation during the February Police Commission meeting. This will close the books on that budget. Right now, we are doing just okay with police and dispatch budgets. See the town finance officer's financial analysis report for the entire budget, including the PD, which will be sent out as soon as it is done. We are projecting for a within the bottom line ending to all three budgets, but it will be close. Gas and oil are still running hot and are projected to be approximately $5,000 to $8,000 over budget due to high gas prices. Last month, we paid $3.01 per gallon, a 23-cent jump from the previous month. We are still under our gas usage consumption by 20%. We are projected to remain under our gas gallon usage through the end of the year. Lastly, though we are doing well, remember that as we get closer to the end of the year, we have several holidays and overtime requirements which cause this part of the year to be very expensive in all three budgets. Additionally, we will have a payout for the cat case. This is the animal abuse case. We will apply to the state for approximately 75% of that money to be returned under the cost of care back to the town. Once those monies are awarded, they will be applied to the general fund in fiscal year 23. This will take some time to get back. Those bills right now are expected to be approximately $23,000. I think the captain will update you here in a little bit when we dive a little bit deeper into the budget later on in this presentation. Budget snapshot prepared by Captain Mark Livy. See the attached Excel spreadsheet. So at the date of the writing of this report, which is 15 December, we were in the 48th week, and we were at approximately 89.589%. And if all were perfect, we would be at 92.308%. So we're approximately 2.72% underspent at the time of the writing of this report. The cluster of five, we gained approximately $2,000 from last week with end-of-year expenses, including paying for the cat case, end-of-year purchases, comp time, and overtime payments. We should have between $19,000 to $26,000 between all three budgets. This also includes the gasoline and over-expenditure and does not take into consideration grant payments, which go directly into the general fund. Do you gentlemen have any questions on that at all that I could answer or make clearer? Fiscal year 23 process, we have all but completed the construction of the fiscal year 23 budget and have met the town manager's suspense of 2 September 22 for its turn in. COLAs and the union contract funds have yet to be completed. We are up approximately 2.5% overall, well under the town manager's guidance of 8%. We had a very successful presentation to the Budget Committee. Next will be warrant articles, which will be heard on 27 December at 1800 hours at the library. I am sure there will be some last-minute changes as the budget now moves through the approval process. All updates made at the Commissioner's September and October meetings have been completed. Personnel pursuant to the Commissioner's wishes, a conditional offer of employment was made to Joshua Romano. Administration, myself and Captain Livy continue to work with the town manager and the rest of the team on the public safety building build. We have interviewed construction managers with the rest of the team on 13 December. We were also present at the opening of the bidding process. Those bids will be reviewed by the town manager and boss, and the town manager and boss will be making a decision. Training this past month included Officer Peasley with SWAT training ×2, Sergeant Strzok K-9 training, and SRO Devine and Mia Lyons attending the Special Olympics New Hampshire Conference. Dispatch, matters of interest. The Dispatch Center has started its Wolfeboro Christmas Fun Toy and Clothes Drive under the very able direction of Dispatch Supervisor Mia Lyons. Soon the entire PD will be filled with packages for Wolfeboro area children. This is very hard work and takes quite a bit of time to put together. I feel that Mia is often undercredited for the work that she does in dispatch, and especially in organizing this program. She does an amazing job at this, and it is one that I know I do not want to do. So congratulations to Mia and to the rest of the hard-working team of Wolfeboro Central Dispatch. Operations, criminal investigations, and prosecutions. In terms of police investigations, prosecutions, and operations, the month of November was slow due to the courts and the Thanksgiving holiday. This, too, is reflected in our arrests for the month at a mere 11. Wow. Our prosecutor continues to work through the extraordinary caseload created by the courts in terms of the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Prosecutions. The month of November was another terrible month for our ability to dispense with cases. The courts allowed many continuances, and our prosecutorial team was only able to get through 13 cases, 8 of which were found guilty or pled guilty at court, and 5 were placed on file. The conviction rates this past month is 100%, with $1,009 in fines, restitution, and penalties meted out by the courts. Safety and security matters. November proved to be a busy month for traffic, and we edged higher for traffic crashes, up 6% or so, with one additional crash over last month. We are still realizing significant increases in traffic volumes, and during the first real snowstorm of the season, we realized 6 traffic crashes in one 8-hour period. It was like the old days. I suspect that traffic to our town will continue to be heavy all season long, so please plan for this in advance and leave earlier for destinations. Additionally, I believe our population density has increased significantly over the last year, and I am forecasting that it will continue to increase for the next 3 to 5 years as folks continue to escape our major population centers and move to less densely populated areas of our country. Lastly, and this is kind of important, during significant weather events, if you don't have to go out, don't. A vast majority of our crashes occur during periods of inclement weather. Plan for needs ahead of these storms, cancel non-important appointments or events if possible. Additionally, please be mindful of state and town public work crews who are out on the roads during and just after the storms, cleaning up the snow, slush, and ice. Please give our very talented road crews the space and time they need to get our roads cleaned up, and please be careful when passing them. Outreach and matters of interest. We are still engaged in a wide variety of public engagements and busy with Town of Wolfeboro Committee programs. Safety tip of the month. December is a busy month here in Wolfeboro as folks plan their ski and snowmobile trips to the North Country to take advantage of the heavy snows. Not to mention all the holiday parties, gatherings, and the obligatory visits to grandmother's house for Christmas Eve dinner. Additionally, December is a time of merriment as we enjoy festive gatherings with friends, family, and our school chums that we have not seen since last September when we left for college. Please be safe while taking in these events and or driving around our busy town roads, realizing that this month brings with it increased travel because of the end-of-season festivities. Lastly, if you drink and drive, please remember to have a designated driver and drink within moderation. If you have too much to drink and can't figure out a safe way to get home, call the PD and we will figure out something for you so you don't hurt yourself or someone else. Our dispatch number is 603-569-1444. Thank you in advance. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chairman, subject to your questions, that's all I have.
Okay. So our next meeting date will be Thursday, January 19th, and we will be back at the library. And we should be there, I think, all but one date next year, or we'll be there for the whole year? All right. I think 11 out of 12 will be at the library next year, so that's good. Okay. Do we have anything, Tom, from the Budget Committee? Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There was a lot of hard work and a lot of thought that went into how we did that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have anything from the public? Okay. Then at this time, I will entertain a motion into non-public session under RSA 91-A to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, and another contract.
We move to non-public session.
Okay,
close
moved.
the public session.
Commissioner O'Brien has moved that we exit the non-public session and go into a non-public session.
I second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Coop.
Have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
A roll call vote. Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner Coop.
Aye.
And Commissioner Woods, a yes also. We'll stand in recess for a few minutes while we clear the room.